Hi, everybody. How you doing? Welcome back to another snackable session today. My name is Ryan Anderson. I'm the Associate Dean of Business and Entrepreneurship here at Mohawk College. And today I'm joined by two fantastic business owners who also happen to be great friends, Erin MCCLUSKEY and Max Francis. Erin from the Laundry and Max from True Hamiltonian. Today we're going to talk about networking, the power of networking, the requirement for networking, the tricks of the trade, if you will. So without further ado, I'll turn it to Erin and Max to introduce themselves. Erin.
Hello, my name is Erin, as Ryan said, and I am a partner and creative director at a boutique design firm downtown Hamilton, where we do everything from branding to graphic design, photography, video development, and website design.
Thanks,
Hey,
Erin.
I'm Max Francis. I'm the owner and founder of a company called True Hamiltonian, and we basically do Hamilton Pride wear. So if you're a proud Hamiltonian, we're the company you're coming to.
Love it. And Max, networking is another one of those fortes, an area of expertise for you. Can you talk a little bit about what networking means to you and how you do it and excel at this thing every single day?
All right. So for me, networking is organic. I find for myself, networking events, or when they put on those networking events, it never works for me. Most of my networking is done through friends who know other friends, or meeting people in social environments, at dinners, parties, whatever. And you just strike up a conversation, and it turns out that they're interested in something you're doing, or you're interested in something they're doing, or they have an idea that you're really excited about. I find that the organic networking is the best kind, and it always leads to something productive.
It's interesting, whenever I've been to, networking sessions, it almost is so formal, it doesn't leave time to network, which is sort of an interesting concept, right? But I think they've got value, but I also think too, those collisions sometimes are a lot more worthy for a brand, especially like yours as well, isn't it? So that's interesting.
I actually, on purpose, do not have business cards. When I meet people, I want it to feel organic. I want it to feel like a real conversation, and we're really engaging, which we are. And then if there's something we want to work on, I'm going to give you my personal number and we can talk. Whenever someone walks up to me and hands me a business card, it's going in the garbage. I'm sorry. I have no idea who you are, what you want. Like, going home with like 10 cards in my pocket does absolutely nothing for me. So unless we have a real conversation where we're talking about something we're actually going to do, or we're interested in doing, I'm not going to remember it.
It's funny, I found when I've done these that sometimes someone gives you a business card almost to go and say, okay, here it is. I don't really want to work with you, but I'll give this to you so I can sort of check off that box too. So that's interesting that you'd catch up on that. Erin, how about you? I mean, can you talk a little bit about the power of networking in where you've come and gone in your career, and what tricks you may have?
Yes, I couldn't agree more about the organic networking philosophy. I think that is so important to try and make those genuine connections whenever you can. I think it's actually impossible for me to overstate like the positive impact that relationships have had on my business growth. Really, when we started in Hamilton, I grew up in the area, but when we set up shop, we knew nobody here. And we hit the ground running. We went to as many, networking events as we could. And I agree with Max in the sense that they can feel really, quite contrived and unnatural, but, we didn't have a choice. So we went anyway. And what it forced us to kind of do is to make those genuine connections as real as they could be at those events. And then more importantly than that, kind of foster those relationships after. And I think the real important thing here is that it shouldn't be considered work. Like, networking should never be a chore. Because I don't think, if you feel like you need to work on those relationships and they're not the relationships you want to have, very similar to a genuine friendship. I think when you meet the right people that you're inspired by, then you can create magic together, really. And I think that those are the relationships that you want to foster and hold on to, because they're exciting, really. So I think it should never be seen as work. It should always be fun.
It's interesting because, when you start out as an entrepreneur, you have to network. I mean, you just have to, whether that's organic, whether that's, attending some of the structured events that we do have in this area and beyond. You have to. Erin, what would you say would be a strategy for a brand new entrepreneur to attend these? Is it to get involved? Is it to sort of be the fly on the wall? I mean, who do you want to be as that new entrepreneur attending networking events, or in sort of doing the organic networking like Max has mentioned?
I would say, from my experience, my goal was to always kind of show people the work that we could do in a really authentic way. So from that perspective, it was always volunteering for as many different, great initiatives that we could in the city that needed the skill set that we had. And that allowed us to, make great connections with the people running those initiatives and events, and also meet their entire network and make meaningful connections there. And ultimately, at the end of the day, even though we were volunteering our time for some of these opportunities, we ended up with a great portfolio piece, and we were able to meet a variety of different people while we did it. So I wouldn't say the tip I would say would be a wallflower. I would say get in there and actually work with people and almost, prove yourself a little bit in some of these networking situations.
It's interesting when you say wallflower. I'm going to pivot to Max, which is probably the last thing Max is, right? But
I actually couldn't agree with Erin more. If you see the Commonwealth Games flag behind me, I volunteered to help with the Commonwealth Games bidding committee. I'm on their board, and I'm doing it for the exact same reason Erin's talking about. You meet all these really great people, and you meet their network, and through them and their network, you'll make genuine connections that will lead to opportunities that you as a business can use. So yeah, absolutely. You cannot be a wallflower. You got to get in there and get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say that though, Max, because COVID has happened, and it's put a real pause on the ability for us to either attend networking events or just have those collisions of opportunity for organic marketing. Erin, I'll start with you on this. What has the last couple of years done as far as your networking goes, and what have you done to sort of make sure that you're still having those conversations in a time when obviously we can't reach across the table and shake each other's hands?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question because, we've even talked about it in the studio that had we started our business during COVID when those networking opportunities and those face-to-face interactions weren't possible, I don't know if we'd be in the same position that we are in now. I think it is a real challenge. And during COVID, luckily we were stable enough and strong enough to kind of keep those relationships going, almost in the same way we kept family relationships and friendships going throughout COVID. Those business relationships, business friendships really took the same amount of effort. The text, the email, how you doing, how you holding up, and want to go for another walk outside where we're allowed to hang out. So I think it really is a whole new world. And I don't know if I have any answers yet or any solutions on how to kind of maintain that same sort of networking during a global pandemic.
It's funny. You mentioned something before that networking shouldn't feel like work. And one of the things that I found is, we're on Zoom calls all day long, literally sometimes all day long. And when someone says we're having a networking event at 7 p.m., hey, guess what? It's on Zoom. All of a sudden that really feels like work. And that's where I think a lot of that challenge has been, to go and say, okay, if it doesn't feel like it's my job and you want that to be very natural and organic, but you're getting me to be that person and I've got to remain, dressed up at night and everything else, that's tough to get enthused about, isn't it?
Oh, huge. Yeah.
Can I say something about the Zoom networking?
Yeah.
How does that even work? Like, if you're at a real networking event, you meet someone that you want to have a conversation with, you kind of like drift off to the side and you guys have a one-on-one. But if you're in a Zoom with 10 or 15 other people, how do you drift off to talk to one person that you're interested in talking to? You can't.
You don't. And that all kidding aside, I've attended a few of these, Max, in the last couple of years. And, you mentioned drifting to the side and you mentioned not giving business cards. And I know, our technology has come a long way, and that, I've attended some where you can actually request a breakout table and you can sort of go off in your own room and some different things. But think about it. I mean, that's awkward. I mean,
Yeah.
if I've met someone for 5 minutes and I say, hey, would you like to go into my own room? And those things are awkward. And these are things
It's-
that we're
It's
not
like
comfortable
speed
with.
dating or something. It's weird.
Yeah, it's, I'll give you 30 seconds, I'll leave you. It's just something that is foreign to all of us. And the art of business is also the art of for an entrepreneur is to be able to network and to have those formal and informal conversations. And it's been very hard. It's been very, very hard, even on my side, let alone as entrepreneurs, as the two of you are. It's almost pressed pause on that, hasn't it?
It has.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it has. It really
Now,
has.
what might your strategy be now that that hopefully we're sort of rubbing out those regulations? Is it to get back out there? Erin, you're taking a deep breath on this one. Is it to get back out there? Is it to sort of see where we go? Erin, with that reaction, I'll start with you. What do you think?
I think, well, for us, it's been the biggest difference, coming out of COVID is just, seeing clients face to face, I can't believe how many people want to have face to face meetings. We talked about burnout before, that's been a huge adjustment, going from just like, sitting at your computer in your pajamas to being at like 10 meetings a day, meeting people face to face, because people are just craving that genuine interaction. Which is great, for someone like myself that deals with clients every day. It's great to know that they want to meet one-on-one, etc. But I don't think the standards that we had during COVID are going to continue. I think as soon as people are able to, they're going to want to get out there and start seeing people again.
I do often think, though, what will they look like? Are they going to be shaking hands? Are they going to be as close quarters? It's we've all talked in our various careers about post-COVID, but I don't think any of us really are sure what the heck that's going to be. And when it comes to networking events, I just think they're going to change. Unfortunately, I think we're going to have to be challenged by that. So I'm excited to do that. I really am. You're right, Max. The Zoom thing at 7:00 at night is a lot of fun.
You know what? Humans are social animals. We are not designed to be isolated. So I feel like this has been a very strenuous situation for everyone. And eventually we're just going to go back to the way we're meant to be, social animals.
So Max, what have you done though over this period? How have you still managed to do sort of organic networking at a time when nothing is organic?
Social media, that's been my key for networking right now. Just I've made a lot of connections over social media. We've done a lot of email blasts, stuff along those lines. Actually, I've had two people, and I was very impressed with what they did. They actually reached out to me on social media. They were like, listen, you're a brand I really like, and I want to work with you, or I want to meet you. And they just scheduled a meeting for a time that I was in the store, and they came in, kind of told me who they were, what they did. And like, we're friends now. So I feel like that's a great way. If you want to like connect with people, that's a great way to do it. Just one-on-one, reach out to them, let them know who you are, what you want, and say, hey, listen, I want to be friends, or I want to find a way that we can work together. I think that genuinely works.
Interesting. So Max, would that sort of be your tip to end our session there, is to say what you want, is, and declare what your intentions are?
Absolutely. If you're beating around the bush, we're all busy. I don't have time for you to send me 3 or 4 messages back and forth asking how my day is. You don't care how my day is. I don't even know you. Just tell me what you want.
There's that speed dating thing, I guess, right, Erin? Then I just tell me.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get to the point.
I love it. Erin, what would, just to wrap up then, thanks, Max, so much for that. What would your tip be on networking?
I think my tip on networking would be to kind of think outside the box and what networking really is. It's not necessarily walking up to someone and giving them a business card, but it's potentially volunteering on a board for a project, finding ways to get out there and kind of showcase your talents and make connections aside from just that standard handshake, here's what I do.
And so I think you make a great point, Max. You mentioned, our Hamilton's Commonwealth bid, which is, a lot of us in our community are extremely excited about. That's something that you get involved in because it's important for the community and you believe in that. But it also obviously is a an opportunity to network, an opportunity to meet people that you never would have met in the past. And I think, both of you and myself have been involved in charity and in community events. And I think sometimes those things are for the right reasons, but they also are opportunity to go and meet people as well. So I think for young entrepreneurs, I think that's a really important lesson, is to don't directly market your product, but market yourself in situations that might in turn, grow your brand as well, right?
No, absolutely. Get involved in your community. That's how you meet the other members of your community. So,
Yeah. And Max, you've done that so well. I mean, your brand is a sales brand, but it's also one that is very much a community brand, and that's something that I think is a great lesson for all of us to take. That's for sure. So, Erin, Max, thank you so much for yet another fantastic snackable session. It's been fantastic catching up with both of you, and the two of you are absolutely superior at networking, whether it be formally or informally. And I know that our audience has a lot they can take away from this session. So thank you so very much to both of you, and we'll talk to you both soon.
Yeah. Thanks, Ryan.
Okay.